Hello and welcome to the energy update here on the Astroflower. We're going to be getting a message from the Earth, chakra sequencing, but also we're going to be going into the solar flares, seeing what's happening on that front. An M flare that went off on the 9th, or the 8th, that will be coming through the Earth on the tonight and tomorrow, from the 9th and the 10th. So we'll be talking about that, and also talking about which sort of instruments that we should be paying attention to and which instruments we should not be paying attention to, which I see banded around a lot on YouTube. But anyway, without further ado, let's just go in to see what's going on with the sun with Tom in the studio.
Don't believe, just know. Cymatic TV, turning vibration into reality.
Hello, yes, and welcome to the studio. Just behind me here, you've got the X-ray flux here, and we're going to be looking at one particular eruption on the sun, which happened on between the 8th and 9th of September, around about sort of like 2 o'clock in the afternoon GMT time, that's UK time. It was an M flare, but it was also filament energy, and we'll see this sort of filament energy, and we'll be seeing what's happening on the sun in a minute on this video here. But you can see this sort of on the X-ray flux that is happening just behind us there. Let's just see what we've got in the way of what are the predictions of the eruption and how it comes towards the sun. Now, this is where we talk about what sort of instruments we look, and it's showing the predicted eruption coming in the direction of the Earth. Now, just taken from that, looking at that just on that one level, you'll think that the Earth is due a massive impact, and some people can be trying to hype that up, sort of getting real sort of clickbait sort of ideas about behind it. And there is also another instrument that I think we need to be really clear about, and that's the Schumann's resonance instrument that people do quote. And the thing is, it has been known for the past 10 to 15 years that it's a scientific instrument that really has no value. In fact, it is one of the worst ways of measuring energies as an instrument, or one of the instruments to use. You won't see me using it on this channel. You might see it on other channels. If you do, it's usually because they don't really know what energy is all about, and they're trying to sort of tie in things that doesn't really fit. And so I would be a little bit wary about that when you're using the Schumann resonance instruments. They're not that sort of very reliable. So this is a classic example of how we can look at certain instruments in different ways, which give us a completely different story. And let's just see, this is another one from Enlil Spiral, which comes from NASA. And here you have the eruption that's just above my head there, just over there. And you can see where it sort of breaks off. It does go in the direction of the Earth. But the thing is, on the right-hand side where you've got that sort of quarter circle, that is the sort of high and low above and below the Earth. And as you see, as it comes through, that breaking of the wave actually means that we're possibly not going to get anything at all. Now, this energy that's supposed to be coming from the sun, that's the prana energy, or the chi energy that people talk about. As it's coming in from the sun, that should be coming through today, around about hitting us around about the 19th or the 10th, around that sort of period. So it'd be interesting to see what happens on the KP index. I haven't seen anything today. I'm not sure it's actually going to do anything of any significance, really. I think it's going to affect things electronically more than anything else. So that will affect our auras in a particular way. But I think it's almost like I was talking the other week, like a shot across the bow. It's just sort of like, it's a bit of a heads up more than anything. And it's asking us to get our acts together in certain aspects of our spiritual or moral or energetic sort of way. Let's just see how that eruption came off here. This is where the LASCO satellites, these are actually beautiful images. You can see the explosion, which is slightly to the bottom of the disc. It's not actually coming off the bottom of the sun. It's just where that disc is covering the main picture of the sun to protect the cameras. And so we can then see the outer parts of the sun and the plasma coming off in a much, much easier way. That's absolutely been absolutely beautiful. And you can see it on the sun. Now, on the far right over there is it's called the 304 angstrom, and you can see that eruption that just happened there, and you can see where a lot of plasma was coming out. But as it does come out, you'll notice that it's not coming out straight. It's actually going much more sort of vertical in a way. It's heading above the Earth, and this is why I think we're going to get a lot more in the way that splitting wave of energy is going to miss the Earth rather than do anything to it. There has been a few eruptions since, but nothing really to sort of like shout about more than anything else. So I wouldn't worry about the eruption from the sun. The thing that you should be concerned about more than anything else is that consistency that we're getting from the sun now in the way of energy, which will help you to be a lot more sort of creative, a lot more concrete in what we actually do. We can see this a little bit once we start going into the earthquake images and see what's happened in the earthquakes in the past few days. We can see that here, just above my head there, you've got the chakra map. And down in Australia, you've got the solar plexus. In North America, in Mount Shasta, you've got the sacrum. And there seems to be a lot going on those two places more than anything else. So getting that determination in your solar plexus to actually get on and do things. And it's all to do with fundamental desires. So it'd be interesting to see what sort of Tom comes up with on the messages for the Earth and the chakra sequences. So without further ado, let's join Tom back.
What's coming through on the solar flares, we see it's been hitting on the solar plexus and the sacrum. That seems to be the main two things that are sort of happening. Let's just see if we can get a message from the Earth and what the chakra sequencing is going on. Let's start with the chakra sequencing. So we're sat on the line here, just waiting for that connection. There you go, you can feel that in the sternum. And that's going more to the root chakra than the crown chakra. That's quite interesting. Seems to be playing a lot more down there. There's the sacrum coming in. And then the solar plexus, which is quite nice. It's a very good sort of one step after the other sort of scenario. And then we're getting the third eye and the throat chakra. Nowhere near as important though. With a little bit of the crown chakra. Goes back to the solar plexus. Slightly off center. And then we get to the throat and the heart chakra. Also very delicate, not very imposing. And there we come back to the sternum again. That's really interesting the way it sort of, because chakra sequencing, if you would take the normal chakra sequencing, you get the crown and root. This is as if energy is at a sort of in its ultimate equilibrium state and in its perfection. And as we all know with this world around us, perfection doesn't really exist. But it normally goes sort of crown and root at the same time. And then it sort of comes back down, goes through the heart chakra. And then as it comes right down, then comes back up and then plays through the solar plexus and then comes back down to the third eye and throat chakra, goes back down and then goes down to the root, comes back up, sacrum, and then it goes to then it just sort of like goes back to the beginning. So it's like this unfolding, like this lotus flower that just goes tuk, 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 tuk. I haven't really seen that when I'm when I'm getting the sequencing from the Earth. It never really plays out that way. Might be a few times if you look back, but not a great deal. So this was really interesting to have it going from the root through to the sacrum, through to the solar plexus, and it was a real building, and it had weight and strength to it, which is really nice. And then everything above it was very much more sort of low key, sat back. So obviously it's about sort of following what's going on in the earthquakes as well. You know, all about sort of like getting those fundamental desires into place and actually going ahead and doing it. And this is all about the common sense revolution that I've been talking about for seems like years now, but it's at least a year, which seems to be coming more and more into play. So that's the so if you're doing anything this week here, you know, make sure you've got enough energy, physical energy to do it, that you've got enough fire and determination in order to do it, and that fundamentally you know and it's very clear for you what you should be doing. That should help you to get things moving on a lot quicker in your life. Okay, let's just get on and see if we can get a message from the earth. So just connecting to the energy again. We've got the crossing point. We're going to use this crossing point, which is just here in this cathedral, or this church that's just behind me. So we've got the line there. Can now get the displacement to the crossing point. As I say, it's a little bit tighter, but can definitely get down into the earth. Down into the earth, and we can now, I'm getting the visions of the plasma ball of the center of the earth. It's very colorful, not very vibrant, or it is vibrant but not in an aggressive way. It's not really hectic. It's purring like a cat. It's really nice sort of energy. Really beautiful colors in there. There seems to be a lot of sort of, it's almost like spiritual energy, sort of like much more sort of into the third eye, throat and crown chakra sort of scenario going on with it. But this is often the case. Sometimes we can really see where what's happening in the center of the earth is completely different to what's happening on the surface. And it's this inversion point in energy which is really important. So let's just keep in with that side, just disconnecting a little bit. Let's reconnect to that. There you go. Okay, so let's just move on to the plasma ball. And it brings in such peace. I could sit on that plasma ball all day long, or just lean up against it. It's so nice. It's like the best jumper during winter with the ultimate fireplace. Okay, so let's just see if we get a message from the earth. Here it is coming through here. It's actually coming through like it almost looks like a scroll, which is really nice. There is things to be done, but do not expect everybody to be doing those things. Leave space for the unconscious. That's what it seems like. Thank you very much. Okay, it's great energies. And I can now coming up, I can see my vortex come up through the top of that, come up through the vortex, up through the crossing point here. I can almost, I'm there, I'm seeing myself from outside my body, and then I can come back into my body and sit within it. Lovely, excellent. Vibrations kick in, I can feel the chakras kick in a lot more now. So that's really nice, getting the interaction with the energies that are around us. So this came out in the readings that I've been doing on the Astroflower, and it seems to be more and more of a case where there's this internal sort of energy that's coming from within us as individuals, and it's is the type of energy that we need to engage with on a very personal level, and how we personally impose ourselves within the world. It seems to be the most driving force at the moment within the energy world. And it may last for the next sort of week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It could have something to do with the equinox, which is coming up next week, which we're going to be doing a special reading about that. And also the supermoon and the lunar eclipse next week as well. That's coming up, quite important as well. So, you know, there's a lot of things coming up. So we're doing quite a few videos on that. But it seems like here that it's all about sort of, do not get frustrated with the outside world, because it's not going to do, and it's not going to respond to your inputs straight away. It's as we import it, or is it impose it, or integrate it, that's the word I'm looking for, in our lives as we live our life, it will gradually filter through. And you may see it as sort of like headlines, a headline in the newspaper or on the news that's very similar to what you're sort of living, or what you're trying to produce or project into the world. And the moment you start living that and seeing that, that's when you can make it even more, bring it in even more tighter to your life. And once you bring it in even tighter to that, it helps with the manifestation within the collective, as it were. And the more and more we can do this and individually enact it, or engage it, or activate it in our lives, the more we can actually create a situation where, as we go into this pole shift period, this changing vibration, which is going to be phenomenal, and it could last hundreds of years, this changing in general. But the more and more we go into it, the more and more we actually can evolve and take we can do a massive leap forward, consciously and evolutionarily. It's a great time to be alive, as someone else commented on one of the videos. I'm sorry, I've forgotten who it was who said it now. I think it might have been Barbara. I think it might have been Barbara. You tell me. Yes. So yeah, it's a great time to be alive. So there you go. Messages from the earth, chakra sequencing. Hope you get the best out of all of these sort of things that we're doing. Absolute pleasure to have you here. Really do enjoyable. I will be putting a link into Scott's. There's a gentleman who does a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel name escapes my mind at the moment, which is a little bit annoying. But it's a lovely man, most beautiful man, spreading good vibrations and encouraging good vibrations in the world, which is fantastic. I'll put a link at the bottom of the in the description. You can go and see him. Hopefully we're going to be doing a chat about why is it so important to spread joy in the world. We'll keep you posted on all of that. But if you have a chance, go and have a look at it. Always sings a lovely song at the end of the video. Anyway, I will speak to you soon. Yes, thanking you very much for being here. And don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.